not a game. We talking about practice.
Welcome back to Kirill Smashes Acting. I'm Kirill, actor, educator, cat enthusiast. Today we're going to continue to give you the skills to crush whatever you might experience in your acting career. In the last video, we worked on how to break down a monologue and get ready to use it in your theatrical audition. Today, we're going to talk about how do we rehearse that monologue to make sure that you're ready to walk into that room. The first thing you really have to embrace is the artificiality of it all. We as actors always talk about being honest and real in the moment, and that is true, but that's only part of our work. Our work is still not real. You're not really talking to another person, especially in a monologue audition. Your partner's not there. So you need to embrace the fact that you're not acting with another partner, and you have to create them for yourself as the actor. This is a big step that I find so many of my students forget. They have a great monologue and it seems like they're talking at the other person instead of having a real conversation. If you as the actor embrace the fact that there's no other partner there, you give yourself the power to create that partner and to have them do whatever best serves you as the auditioner. So instead of forgetting that the partner's there, create the story for them. We've already created the story of what's happening to your character. So now create the story of how the other character is responding. By really focusing on how the words are affecting the other person, you get rid of that tendency to become self-conscious and worrying about if you're hitting your lines properly, because just like other acting, it's about them. Also, by having an imaginary partner and understanding how they're reacting, you get to play with so many different choices. If you make your imaginary partner do something crazy, then that gives you justification to then take crazy chances yourself. By really thinking what that other person is doing and embracing the fact that you have control over your scene partner, you allow yourself to make some choices that are really out of the box and might not work in a play, but will work great in an audition. Now that you're thinking about the other person, here comes step 2. Find another actor to be the rehearsal partner. In a monologue, you're never really just talking to yourself. And in the best audition monologues, you're almost never talking to yourself. Find another actor you trust to play the other person. When I was rehearsing for my first MFA audition, I had an amazing partner. Shout out to you, Eric Sampson. You're one of the reasons I'm here. Having a partner that you've worked with before or that you really enjoy acting with or that you trust will give you somebody to play off of. So when you give them the instruction that they could do whatever they want, see what happens if you just react to their choices. If they read the play, understand the story, or really know you as an actor, they can make different choices to help push you out of your box and give you choices that you may not have thought of on your own. Once you've had some good practice time with your partner, you start to understand which choices they made really trigger you to respond and become active in your monologue. So start giving them direction. Think about a possible choice that worked in the middle, a possible choice that helped create that spark that changed your character. See if together you guys can create a scene partner for your audition that is active and that is really pushing you and your acting abilities. Obviously, the next step is to remove the other actor. You've spent some time working with them. You've spent some time listening, responding, reacting, hitting them with your tactics. Now, let's take them out of the equation. Let's remember what their strongest choices were. Which choices activated you the most? Now it's time to put that into your imagination and into your rehearsal process. Really take a moment and think about which of their choices really hit you. Did they interrupt you and bring you frustration you couldn't imagine? Because of course they interrupted you at the moment you wanted to talk the most. Did they walk away from you and make you change the tactic you were thinking of to have to keep them in the room? Think about not only what they did that affected you, but how it affected you and how it made your choices more dynamic. Start rehearsing your piece with them as your imaginary character And with these choices as the pivotal moments that affected your character, and see how that changes your monologue. If this starts getting stale or doesn't work, imagine that same person doing a different choice. Once you have that other actor in your head, it becomes so much easier to manipulate that imaginary partner to then get those amazing responses from yourself. The rehearsal's going great. You're starting to see the other person. You're starting to react and listen. This next step is avoiding a trap. Free yourself to move. So many actors, especially actors early in their training, are taught to stand there and deliver the piece. The reason a lot of actors are taught that early on is because many people have a habit of just moving around too much. We as actors have to find the right balance. In your monologue, think about the motivation your character has. If your scene partner is leaving the room, it's natural to want to step forward to make them stop. So that's fine. As long as your movements are justified by the motivations of the character, you're allowed to move on beat changes, because that's when your character's brain is trying to process something new or trying to figure out the next step. Let the scene partner, imaginary or otherwise, be the justification for why you move. Are they pressing towards you? Are they going away from you? If you can really see and understand the movements they're making, then your movements because of them will be justified. Another way to help yourself find the proper movements for your character is to really think about the environment. Way too many actors just place it in a room and they don't even think about what is exactly in that room. How far away is the door? How far away is your scene partner? What obstacles might be part of the environment? If you help create exactly what that environment is in your imagination, you're going to feel a lot more natural when you are deciding to move in your monologue. I highly recommend in your rehearsal process, creating a space to rehearse in. Don't just rehearse with a blank room just because that's the kind of studio you have. Put some chairs or anything else the room might have to create an environment. During your audition, you will probably have a chair, so think about whether you want to use it. And that doesn't mean just sitting down. You can lean on it, stand on it, move around it, stand up from it, whatever might be justified for your story. You don't have to use it, just like anything else, but make sure you're not skipping this step of the process just because you want to get to a certain point. The final piece of advice for today is really remember the story arc and letting that affect you physically. We've talked about understanding where your character starts, how they change, and where they end up. This is the time in your rehearsal process to really make sure you have the story arc solid and understand how that affects your character both physically and emotionally. In your rehearsal process, reflect on if you are actually fulfilling the arc of the character. If you know what they start as and what they become, are you as the actor really fulfilling that journey, or are you stuck playing a mood? This is when self-reflection is most important. In the story, is your character getting their objective, or are they not? Depending on this answer, how does that affect the character and the actor emotionally and physically? All of the scene work questions we talked about before now have to be asked and applied to your actual audition piece, not just the text. So think about the character arc, think about the story, think about the transition point, and really ask yourself, are you honoring these moment to moment in your piece and not just blowing through all of them? This is when breaking down the monologue, working unit to unit, and then combining all of those units together will really come back to help you. I hope you enjoyed that video. Hit the like button, subscribe, share this with any actor who you might think will find it useful, and we'll have the next part of the series in a couple of days. For now, say goodnight, Lily Cat. Good night, Lily Cat.